In a game like Don't Starve Together, you'd probably think that a crafting tab centered on survival would be paramount to keeping your butt alive, right? And if it were any other game, you'd likely be correct in assuming as such. But to be honest, almost everything in the survival tab can be outright ignored and you'd still find your way alright. But that being said, we can't shy away from highlighting some of the many crafts that we've never shown off before, so let's get to surviving. And a key component to survival is storage, so what better to kick us off than the plain old simple backpack. With but 4 grass, 4 twigs, and a science machine, you'll have an immediate access to 8 additional inventory slots. And it makes a world of difference. Get one early enough and resource management and base preparation are far less time consuming because you can just get stacks upon stacks of the resources needed. But keep in mind that your body slot is occupied. So if you are looking to smack things around while taking less smack yourself, then you're gonna have to use some headgear for your armor. Furthermore, the backpack protects against item wetness, so put whatever you want dry within one. But don't let them get too dry, because backpacks burn, and that is obviously no good for you. But if you're looking to up it a notch, the piggyback might just be the thing for you. You'll certainly be forking over more to craft one, as it will require a handful of porky butts and silk this time around, but the piggyback offers 12 additional slots as compared to the normal 8, while continuing to protect items from the rain, and there's no cause for concern when it comes to roaring fires, because the piggyback will not set on fire like the normal one does. Make note, however, that the pack will reduce your speed by 10%, but this is just completely negated by a walking cane, so it is not a big deal at all. And honestly, the piggyback is pretty darn great, and I'm not sure why I don't use it more often. However, if there was an item I'd do most anything to avoid using, it'd be the Insulated Pack. First of all, who in their right mind is going to use a thick fur, a material used for the hibernation vest, one of the best items in the game, 3 whole gears, and then all the materials needed for 3 electrical doodads on this thing? I'll tell ya, frickin' no one. Sure, the pack is a pseudo-portable icebox, but you still cannot stop ice from melting, nor can you cool down thermal stones, 2 of the most important mechanics of the icebox. So nope. Just nope. But now we're talking portable storage here. But before we practice our Christmas wrapping, we got to know how to unlock the craft itself. Bundling wrap is acquired solely through the murder of Her Majesty in the form of a blueprint, so usurp her by any means necessary. Then, create a chunk of beeswax, which is easy enough, and use that and papyrus to help create wax paper, and finally bring it all together for the bundling wrap itself. You now have easy access to storage that can turn 4 individual items in your inventory into a single filled slot, making organization an absolute breeze. Plus, food can be bundle wrapped to completely prevent spoiling. Yes, bundle wrap stores food forever, no matter the type. But since we're in the realm of the bees, we should probably talk the bug net, a survival item that will set you back some twigs, silk, and rope, but one that allows the player to capture both types of bees, the fluttering butterflies of the world, which leads to replanting of flowers, by the way, even the fireflies of the night, and the mosquitoes of the marshes. It's a net for bugs. Who would have guessed? We can capture things that buzz, but how about stuff that swims? Well, seems to me that we're gonna need a rod then. A fishing rod. Each rod has 9 total uses, and you can use it in the ponds in the grasslands, in the mossy marshes within the swamps, down in the still waters of the below, and even in the sweet sanctuary of the oasis. The choice is yours, if you're looking for some seafood to munch on, or if you need some fancy new goggles, the rod can get you there. But there's nothing fancy about this next one, folks. The bird trap is as easy as they come. Just lay it down and watch as the winged beast plop right down into them, but remember that you yourself can bait them too with seeds to speed up the process. And maybe a feather hat won't hurt you either. Just ground them rats with wings by any means. Seems appropriate that we talk the normal traps next, and I agree. So grab some grass and twigs, then make some for yourself. They're pretty darn self-explanatory, at least with rabbit hunting in mind, as the traps set and operate themselves once dropped. But just like bird traps, one can actually bait normal traps as well, helping the hunting process just a little bit. But make note, however, traps instantly kill spiders and frogs, making handling hordes of the Sons of Guns far easier. Oh, and a little bit of an expert tip. Use traps to mark areas on the map, given that the icon will be visible at all times. If we're talking maps and direction, then the compass cannot go unstated. Toss but a single gold and flint together to create an item that details your cardinal orientation when held. So cool, I guess. And it also shows the exact location of players who are also holding a compass, but why the heck are all of you holding a compass? Throw together some magic items to construct an Ocu Vigil, a magic item that marks map locations and actually unveils parts of the map that other players may not have been to yet. So cool, I guess, again. But take it a step further and create the Cartographers Desk, a structure that allows you to create maps of your map to instantly share with other players. Now that is cool actually, and mighty useful too. But on your travels, you may encounter a phenomena where water falls from the sky. So let's discuss how you can stay dry. And first up, the pretty Parasol, a survival item that will cost you 4 twigs, 3 grass, and 6 petals to make. It doesn't have durability, but will spoil over time due to it being made from food technically. However, while it's equipped, you will benefit from 50% wetness resistance and even gain a respectable protection from the heat, all things considered. It's not an umbrella, but if you're a cheapskate and want a close knockoff, then here you go. And oh yeah, expect a slight sanity boost too, by the way. But Beard ain't cheap, and he'll treat you right. He'll even hold the umbrella for you as he gets absolutely drenched. But like the Parasol, the umbrella helps combat the wet and the sticky heat as well, but does so in a more efficient manner, obviously. The umbrella has a 90% wetness resistance that when paired with most hats will keep you as dry as my sense of humor, while also keeping you from being severely sunburned come the summer season. Although I wouldn't really rely on it there, however. But oh yeah, even though it isn't a dressed item, you can actually still repair an umbrella with the sewing kit. So keep that in mind, and yeah, you should probably do that from time to time. However, if we're talking to staying cool or getting hot, then we must discuss the thermal stone, one of the most important items in the game if you happen to use it, that is. They can keep you nice and toasty or can cool down your giblets. Either one will suffice come the proper seasons, but one is also needed to initiate the antlion boss fight in summer. But don't fret, you can repair them via sewing kits, which makes no sense, but heck, it's a fantastic little rock, ain't it? From mighty useful to completely gimmicky. Yup, that's Don't Starve in a nutshell. The Whirly Fan is next, and I reckon many of you didn't even know of its existence until this very moment. Smash together a single petal and some twigs to create an item that lasts for a whopping minute and 30 seconds while providing very low protection from the heat. As long as you're moving your butt, that is, because it will only work when you are moving. And I'd hate to say it, even though it's not going to do you any favors, this stupid little thing might actually save your life out in the summer heat if you have one pre-crafted. Hey now, recall those mosquitoes we caught earlier? This is their purpose, to become water balloons for our pleasure. But side note, however, you can actually fill mosquito sacks at ponds themselves to craft balloons as well. But a normal craft is still going to be the better option. They don't do or lead to as much as I would hope, but they can put out fires. They can even cool you down for a measly 5 degrees, which is a nice mechanic, I guess, and of course, doing so will cause your wetness to rise by 20 each burst. But unfortunately, you can't really combo potential balloons and electrical damage weapons together in PvE. And that's because Dragonfly is the only enemy that can get wet from them. However, players can, so I guess you can have fun there. But it's time we talk a mechanic I have never truly touched on, catching some Z's. And in this case, we're going to be staying cool too. The Siesta Lean-To is reporting for duty, and with a hunk of junk thrown all together, you have a shelter in which you can sleep in during those hot summer days, or kind of whenever you want, really. And while snoozing, you'll regain 1 sanity and 2 health per second at the cost of 0.33 hunger. But the Siesta also lowers your temperature by 1 per second to a minimum of 40 degrees. Perfect for quick cooldowns with a hint of healing on the side. The tent, on the other hand, is a bit different. Not only in the resources needed to craft it, but in the mechanics that follow. You can only sleep in a tent at night, and doing so can raise your temperature to a maximum of 40 degrees, while restoring 1 sanity and 2 health per second at the cost of 1 hunger per this time around. So honestly, a fiesta and a siesta may be the better option for you. Ever heard the phrase, you snooze, you lose? Well, in essence, it's still gonna apply, because even with what is known as a straw roll, you'll still use 1 hunger a second for a measly 0.67 sanity per second gain, and really, that's not worth it. But combine a straw roll with some bunny puffs to create a far more fluffy fur roll, a bed roll that restores 1 sanity, 1 health, and increases your temperature by 1 per second up to 30 degrees at the cost of a single hunger point each. So the choice is yours. Sleep under the all-seeing moon, or protect thyself from the impending darkness. Protection, eh? Sounds like a job for honey poultice, a survival item that is incredibly easy to craft using but a single papyrus and 2 honey, and one that almost instantly restores 30 points of health to the player. It is quite the healing alternative that all should look into, but especially you wormwoods out there. Or turn your attention to the healing salve, another item that will soothe your wounds, but will require more in the crafting aspect, with ashes and spider glands holding you back. And to add to this, salves heal for only 20, so I choose slathering myself with honey over spider juice any day. Our last 2 items of the day, the booster shot and the telltale heart. Let's finish it off, shall we? The booster restores 25% of your lost maximum health that occurs when respawning from the portal or telltale hearts themselves. And yes, the hearts are for getting a second chance at life. Just don't blow it this time. But remember, you're gonna need somebody to give you the heart, because you can't haunt them yourself. But note that the player that does give it to you will get a big sanity boost out of the deal, so maybe pick who revives people wisely. Hold up, I forgot the dang luxury fan. Grab some reeds and pluck the feathers off moose goose and her demon spawns that have use of an item that lowers your temperature by 50 degrees per use, puts out nearby fires, and keeps other players cool too. So fan away. But there you have it, everyone. Another extensive guide covering one of the many crafting tabs within Don't Starve Together. You might be wondering why at the start of this I implied the uselessness of this tab, but I never meant that. I said you could ignore most, if not all of it, and still survive just fine, and I still stand by that. But that doesn't mean I don't want you having fun and experimenting with what's in the tab itself. But thanks for watching, everyone. Well wishes to all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!